Hello everyone. Today's story is about envy, lies, and true interpretation. It was collected by the Russian folklorist Alexander Afanasiev. It is called the Slandered Maiden. In a kingdom far, far away lived a merchant and his lovely wife. They had two children, a daughter and a son. The daughter was breathtakingly beautiful, so much so that the birds stood still in the trees when she was passing beneath them. Unfortunately, the merchant's wife got seriously ill and passed away, and not long after, the merchant himself got also very ill and was afraid he may not make it. So he gathered his two children around his bed and told them, "My lovely children, I will soon be leaving you and this world. I love you with all my heart. Be blessed, my children. Love and support each other through everything that life may bring you. Stay together." Soon after, the merchant passed away. His grieving children buried him with honors and aching hearts. They were now alone. They followed their father's advice and lived in harmony and support for each other for a long time. But after a while, the brother started pondering. "I am young. Why am I staying at home? I want to see the world. I want to know people. I want to be respected. I will go to military service, and after maybe 10 years, I will have a high rank and earn respect. And in the meantime, my sister can stay in the house and look after it while I'm gone. And when I am back, she will be proud of me." So he called his sister and told her, "I am leaving you to serve our country. Our God will protect me. Goodbye, little sister. Think well of me. I love you." His sister was very unhappy with this news and started crying bitterly, but she wanted to support her brother in everything, so she bid him farewell, hugged him, and kissed him on the cheek. "Goodbye, dear brother. May God be with you," she told him. They gave each other a portrait of the other and exchanged their final goodbyes and warm hugs. The brother joined the king's guards. He was a diligent soldier, and after some time had passed, he earned the respect of everyone. He was a literate and smart young man. A few years have passed, and he was promoted for the first time, and then more promotions followed, one after the other, for he was a very intelligent and capable young man. He was promoted to colonel and became known to the Tsarevich's family, and they enjoyed his company genuinely. The Tsarevich even considered him a friend and often went to visit him. Once, when the Tsarevich was visiting the young colonel, he saw on the wall of his bedroom a picture of a maiden so beautiful he was lost for words. "Does such beauty really exist in this world?" he thought to himself. He fell in love with the portrait from the first sight. "Who is this?" the Tsarevich asked the colonel. "It is my sister, your highness," answered the colonel. "Your sister is so beautiful, I want to marry her. I will ask my father for permission," exclaimed the prince. From this moment on, the colonel became the Tsarevich's favorite, and the Tsarevich was not shy to show his favor. So naturally, the rest of the soldiers, the generals, and the colonels began to wonder, why is this particular person getting so much favor from His Highness? They became jealous of the young colonel with humble background, who has risen to the Tsarevich's favorite, and they began to plot against him. They asked around and soon found out what is the reason for his favor, the beautiful sister of the colonel. "Okay," said one of the generals, "I will fix that and will make the Tsarevich despise the young colonel." The envious general took a leave and stated personal reasons, but instead he went to the colonel's home village. Upon entering the village, he saw a peasant and asked him, "Where can I find the most beautiful maiden in this village? If you tell me, I will pay you." The villager replied, I know the maiden you speak of. She is not only the most beautiful in the village, but in the world, or so people say. She leads a simple and quiet life. She doesn't take in guests and rarely leaves her house, only to go to church on big holidays. The general thought about what he had heard and made a plan. He waited until a big holiday approached, and when the maiden left for church, he went to her house and started yelling, Is my sister home? I'm back! The neighbors heard him and took him for the merchant's son. Even though he didn't resemble him, they have not seen him for a long time. It was also getting dark, and he was wearing his uniform, so they were easily fooled. They called him by the colonel's name and told him his sister had gone to vespers. So he told them, I shall then wait for her inside. Give me a candle and take me to her room. The neighbors gave him a candle and took him to the maiden's room. He looked around in this room and saw a glove and a ring on the table. He took both and declared, I have not seen my sister for so long. I can't just stand here and wait for her. I will go and find her at church. So he went out of the house and left, but not for church, but out of town. When the maiden returned home, the neighbors asked her if her brother had found her at church. She was very surprised and couldn't understand what they were talking about. My brother was here? She asked. Yes, he wanted to wait for you, but then couldn't stand the waiting and went to find you at church. The maiden waited for her brother to come home, and she waited and waited for the whole night, but of course he didn't come. It was probably a thief pretending to be my brother so he could steal something, she thought to herself when her brother had not come. She looked around and saw that her ring and glove were missing, so now she was sure it was probably a thief's trick and her brother had not been there. Meanwhile, the general had gotten to the capital, and on the very next day he was summoned to his duties. When the Tsarevich had given his orders to the generals, this one stayed behind and requested to speak to the Tsarevich privately. Speak, said the Tsarevich. It has come to my attention, Your Highness, that you wish to marry the colonel's sister, began the general. Yes, it is so. What of it? Asked the Tsarevich. I am sorry to tell you, Your Highness, but she is not worthy of you, said the general. How so? Asked the Tsarevich. I was in her village and was told she sees all kinds of men and entertains them. Even I was tempted to sin with her, said the general with a most convincing tone. That isn't true, exclaimed the Tsarevich. I am sorry, but it is the truth, Your Highness. I have proof. Look, she gave me her ring and her gloves. I lost one glove on the way, but I still have the other one. And he presented the Tsarevich with the objects. Immediately the Tsarevich sent for the colonel and told him everything. The colonel was in distress. This cannot be true, Your Highness. My sister is very humble and quiet. She is pure as dew. Please allow me to take leave home so I can find out what is the truth. The Tsarevich agreed, and the colonel left for his village. When he came to his village, he didn't immediately go home. First, he asked around the villagers, and they confirmed that his sister is most admirable and humble in all her deeds. Satisfied, he then went home to her. She was very joyful for seeing him and embraced him warmly. Dearest brother, I am so happy you have returned to me, she exclaimed, and she immediately asked him, Dear brother, have you been here recently? I was told you had come to the house when I was gone to church, and when I came back I found that my ring and my gloves were one of my gloves were missing. The colonel understood everything that the general had done. He told his sister, I will now leave, dear sister, but I want you to come to the capital in 2 weeks' time and stand before the guards when they are changing. The Tsarevich will also be there. On the appointed day, the soldiers had a mounting of the guard. The Tsarevich arrived to watch. Then a carriage appeared on the square carrying a maiden of undescribable beauty. She went directly to the Tsarevich and fell on her knees, crying bitter tears. She told him, "I beg you to punish this general who discredited with me. What he said was a lie." The Tsarevich called for the general. "Do you know this maiden?" asked the Tsarevich. The general stared at the beautiful maiden. "Forgive me, your highness, but I don't know her. I have never seen her before." "I see," said the Tsarevich. "So how could you have told me that she gave you her gloves and ring if you have never seen her before?" At that moment the maiden told the Tsarevich how her glove and ring had gone missing, and handed him her other glove. "Here is my other glove. Would you like to compare them, your highness?" said the maiden. The gloves matched, and the general had to confess for his deceit of the Tsarevich, and then the general was hanged. The Tsarevich married the maiden, and they lived happily ever after. Okay, everyone, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.